think it's working. Okay. So, if you're watching online, this is a quick sidetrack to, I'm going to kind of give an example. And then for you, Sandy, you watch this at home later. So this is the image. You wanted to recreate the antler. You have several options. I'm going to go fast because I want you to be able to just go home and watch it if you want. And you can listen now and watch. So go to the lasso tool. Lasso tool, for most people, is going to be set to L. I set it to A because I like to keep everything on my left hand because I'm right-handed. So any hotkey is going to be set to my left side of my keyboard. And that's why all my panels are actually set to my right side because I'm right-handed. So I keep ergonomics in mind when I'm working. Right, so I want to always have my tools here. I want to have all my buttons here. And I want to have nothing over there because I don't really need it. Okay. You get your lasso tool. You can, select the other antler. And you want to come in. You want to scrutinize it. You want to get in closer, right? And this photo is pretty small. If I go to image size, under the image menu on top, we'll see that it's only 530 pixels. And the way 530 pixels at 72 pixels per inch, it basically is about 5 inches total, right? So let's pretend this was a photo you took and it was a nice high-res photo, 4,000 pixels. So it's like, if you take a camera, like a raw photo with like a Canon or a Nikon, you're going to get a huge image with a bunch of detail. Let's pretend that's the image you got, just because it has more information to work with. I'm going to just, what I'm doing is I'm copying and pasting in such a way that it will, I've created a single layer with my edit. So I'm going to work from one layer assuming this was the photo you took, right? Because the antler was already missing. So we're going to come in with the lasso tool. The one option is to get the lasso tool. You do a loose selection first, right? And this isn't really digital painting so much as compositing. So we're going to composite one image from several elements. Go to edit. Nope. If you ever lose your selection, you can go to edit, redo, lasso. I'm going to just copy, edit, paste. So it's Command C, Command V, the hotkey. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. Because you couldn't see it, but I had copy and pasted the same antler. So now the process of stitching this antler to the other side, right? Now, we clicked down here before, it created a mask. So I'm going to click that again. Because I have no pixels selected, there's nothing that's being masked out. I haven't told it to erase anything. And like I said before, when you have this square selected, it means you have the mask selected. So if I come in here and start painting, nothing is really happening. Especially because I have, if you look over here in the color, I have white. I don't have black selected. So if I press X, it flips it. All right, I'm just pressing the X key on the keyboard. So when you have black selected and I come to the mask, it erases, right? Just a general how the masks work. I mean undo, just because I don't want to do that. So it's Command Z or Control Z. I'm going to zoom in. And it's a little hard to see. So one thing I would recommend would be clicking the original picture, locking it, because we don't really want to damage that picture. We're going to click this button down here, the new layer button. And I'm just going to click the background color here with the eyedropper tool. And then we'll remember we got to find the paint bucket tool because we were just using the gradient tool. So your paint bucket tool has got to be what you select. And I've just filled the layer with color. I'm going to come over to this menu here under opacity. I'm going to change it to like 20%, maybe even 10%. The only reason, now let's go ahead and go a little higher. Let's go to 22. So the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to see which layer is which. Is kind of confusing. So this is just to work with. I'm going to turn that off before the finished image. So that's just me. And it would even be better if I just selected a color like purple. It's a big image. There we go. So now everything's slightly purple. Anything that's not purple is the layer I want to work with. So I'm going to come up to my mask, click the mask. Don't click here. And if you click here, you're going to come and you're going to start painting black. So that's how you know you got the wrong one selected. You click the mask, and the mask black erases. So you increase your brush size using the drop menu here, or you can select on your keyboard. There's 2 brackets right next to the letter P. Let me deselect. If I click my brackets, it moves my brush size in increments of 10. Right. Here we go. So we start masking out this, right? We'll go through and mask out the whole thing. This is also a photo retouching, right? Because we're altering the end product of this photo. The painting will come in towards the end. This is also, we can say this is kind of verging on there's a process we call photo bashing. Now there's a term called kit bashing that they use in the movie industry, and like for the old Star Trek show and for Star Wars, the movies, before they had CGI, they used to take model kits and they would just glue all the pieces together to make their spaceships. So it was called kit bashing. So photo bashing is you're gluing together photos to make one image. That's where the term's coming from. So photo bash, kit bash. So we kind of clean this up a bit. Let me turn off click the eyeball here and turn off my purple layer. Alright, and I can press my move tool up here, my arrow, or I could press V on the keyboard. Just click V, and I can adjust this to move it. So it's a lot cleaner now. I don't have that little white edge. That's because the mask it's just kind of keeping that pushed away. It's basically masked it out like the way you'd mask off a trim on a house when you're painting. So let's figure out the best place to put this. Maybe right here. So now I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and add this button here. It's going to add a folder, and that folder is just going to help me keep everything organized. So I'm going to click my new layer. I'm going to click my antler layer. Oops, wrong one, sorry. Click my antler layer. I'm holding shift. Click, and you hold shift, and you click the box. You can just drag it into that folder. If I close the folder, it completely collapses, and the folder acts like a layer. Open and close, right? So open the folder, click the arrow, open the folder up. Click this top layer, layer 6. I'm going to double click it and rename it Edit. And I'm just going to come into this antler and grab these pixels using the eyedropper, the eye tool up here, or you can click I on the keyboard. Click B for brush, or you click the brush tool right here in the menu, and we'll just paint in. And then I'll click the color below. This isn't the healing brush. So the healing brush would take the texture. I'm just going to paint in the color in this case. And you can clone tool. The clone tool is the stamp, and then the healing brush is the band-aid. And it works very... Have you all used that before? Healing brush? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So for the sake of this demo, we're going to use just the paintbrush. So you got to remember, let me zoom in really close, because right now we're at 50%. I'm going to zoom in to 100%. And you shouldn't zoom in this much unless you're really editing the seam. Okay. There's a change in value. It's darker, it's a little bit lighter. So I gotta just decide how I want to fade that together. So I'm gonna go to menu, window, brush, and you're gonna find a brush. You gotta find a brush that has soft edges, right? Whether you're using my brush set or anyone else's, you want something with a soft edge. I have noise selected. That gives it a little bit of a spray. It just kind of makes it a little not so perfect. And I'm also going to click color dynamics. I'm going to open this. So you click to activate with a check mark, and then I click the name to actually open the menu. And I just want it to do a brightness jitter. I'm going to click it to 3%. And we'll do a hue jitter to just 3%. Really, really small, really, really subtle. And I'm going to close this menu. So I'm going to click the same color before with the eyedropper tool. This I for the eyedropper tool. B for the brush. And we're going to just begin brushing. And it's naturally going to jitter between the light and dark, right? So it's almost like the healing brush tool, but if I come over here and show you, I'll do a real big swatch. It's going to be really slow too because my computer's like streaming. You can't really see, it's slightly lighter. See, it just got lighter, but it was a little darker. Let me zoom out. Hey Carlton, we're doing a different demo real quick. This is so you'll see it's like kind of dotting light and dark, light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. It's very, very subtle. If I change the brush to a harder brush, you'll really see it. Let me just do that. This is a really hard brush, so you're going to see the change. Oops, no. Hard brush. Oh, of course. I didn't. Pardon me. I just switched the brush, so it doesn't have the same settings. Window. Brush under the window menu. Color dynamics. It because I just had these settings, it kind of saved the same settings. It says 3%, 1%, 3%, close. Now if I move, you can see how it's like each little circle it's stamping is completely different color. Well, not completely different, but it's almost, it's jittering. So it's jittering between those two. So, huh? So you'd use that if you're doing so Carlton and I worked on a film project where we had to create matte paintings. And you had to make a fake cityscape, right? So to save time, we took photos of buildings, and we took photos of a cityscape, and we had to make a futuristic city. We had to make this buildings look like they're really there because the footage is real live action. So in order to subtly blend without using the clone tool, so the reason I'm not using a clone stamp in this case too is that you have to sample a part of the image. So if I have my healing brush or my clone, you hold Option key, turns into a target, click. Now it's going to sample this area, and you can see it. See how it's darker because it's telling me, hey, you got this selected, right? If I move, it only samples what's there, and it's antler, so it's really skinny. I don't have much area to work with. The benefit of just using my brush is that I'm kind of recreating the natural color change in the photo, and I'm just straight painting pixels. I don't have to worry about, I'm sure you've used a clone stamp and you've accidentally gone off the wrong color and you're like, ah, dang it. So what you want to do is you want to utilize color dynamics with your brush, and it's going to give you that. And you got to get real close, right? Because even a high quality photograph is going to have that subtle change in the pixels.
So the jitter just picks up what's around it?
You know, so there's different ways. So the jitter, let's go back in the menu and just take a look at it real quick. Brush. You have several options, right? Color dynamics. I can make the hue jitter, and the hue, remember, is just color. Red, white, blue. Not white. Red, green, yellow. That's just the hue, right? Saturation is the level of color from gray to like pure red, right? Or gray to like really, really yellow. The brightness is light and dark. The brightness is the black and white. Purity. And up top, though, I have another option. It says foreground, background jitter, 2%. I could boost this up, and what it's going to do is take the two colors I have. So if I have like green, if I have like this green here, and I click this, and I do red, it's going to jump between red and green. It's subtly, it's barely doing it. If I go in and change that brush, I could go all the way to like 100%, and I could also say I want the purity to be like not pure at all, right? So it's going to be all kinds of crazy going on, right? And this is a way to experiment. You know, you can experiment and see what you really, you play around on your own, and then you figure out, what can I use this for? And as a digital painter, that's part of this, is you got to figure out your tool. Let's boost the purity. Let's just boost the purity up to like 100% and see what that does. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So it's like red, green, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, really fast, right? So like I said, the reason you would use this is to not have to sit there and take your sample from your image, and you just go in really tight. Let me get that color back, and let me switch my brush. And let me just open that again, because I got to redo it. So my brushes don't have those dynamics turned on. So whenever you unless you save the setting of the brush, and I can show you how to do that right now. Click the color dynamics. I don't want that to happen. I just want it to jitter a little bit. I want saturation to go up and down, and the brightness can jitter. And I want the purity to be right there. It's kind of pretty in between. You click this little square here, and it'll save it. And you can say, let's call it matte painting brush, because that's kind of what you're doing. You're editing the photos, kind of like creating a matte painting. So let's pick the dark color again, and I'm going to go in and just pull the dark color down. I'm going to just keep sampling. So have your hand on the I and B, or you can hold Option, right? The brush tool. If you have a Mac or it's Alt for computer, hold Option. If I just press Option, it switches. While you have the brush tool, right? So you're not actually, all you're doing is pressing Option. So I'm just Option, and I'm paint, Option, paint, Option, paint, and you sit here and you fill it in until it looks pretty natural. And you're like, okay, there you go, right? Now the other option now, I mean, the situation here is that the antlers are exactly the same, so you probably want to come in here. You might want to add a new layer. Click this little button here. It's the drop down menu. It says normal. Hold that. Multiply. Now last time we learned that multiply darkens. So if I go back to this antler, hold Option, click, let go. It's still the brush tool. Anything I paint is going to darken now with the color I just selected. So this antler color is going to darken the image. So I can come in here and just say, I want to darken this one antler, because maybe this antler comes towards the camera a little bit. Why do I know that it'll come towards the camera? Because these antlers that are coming towards me, because the deer's antlers, they come forward and then they go out. Those are darker, and the light's coming from above, right? Because the sun's up above us. It's pretty ambient, right? Because it's not like a spotlight's on the deer. If a spotlight was on the deer, we'd have these really harsh shadows. We got just enough shadows right there to know that those antlers are coming towards us, and the rest are not. So if I darken this antler, this spike, or what do you call it? A horn. This horn here. Now it's going to come towards us, right? Because now it's kind of mimicking what's going on down here. You can see how it looks. It looks like it's starting to come towards me. And then I can also, let's add a new. Let me just name this layer darker horn. And I'm going to add another new layer. Go to the drop down menu. Screen. Now we know that screen does exactly the opposite of multiply. So I'm going to Option, and I still have the brush tool. Option, click this dark antler, and I'm going to just paint on top of the dark antler, and it's going to lighten it up. Now I can see that this color doesn't really match the colors behind the antlers. I mean, this right now, the color I'm painting doesn't really match the rest of the antler. So I need to figure out how I'm going to adjust that. So we got several options. It's almost like too light, right? So I'm going to go over to the opacity and I'm going to lower that a bit. And I have a feeling that just doing that's going to be enough to do what I want to do. There we go. And now I've actually kind of like I erased it, right? It's kind of gone. Let me lower it a little bit more, because I still want it to be there, but I don't want it to be exactly the same position as the other side. Or if you want it to be exactly the same position, what happened? If you want it to be exactly the same position, then kind of leave it alone. But let me just name this layer by double-clicking the words layer 6. It's going to say, let's call this lighter horn. Okay. So now I can turn this on and off and see my changes. I can turn my darker horn on and off and go, okay, that looks pretty good. And then I can view my edit. So like that's where I patched up my horn, right? And I can zoom out to a point where, maybe, we might want to edit some more. And if it's a high res photograph, you're gonna really go in there and get down to the nitty gritty, put some hours into sitting here working. But now we've got the deer with two horns. And I'm just going to put everything I just did. I'm going to put this whole thing into one folder by clicking this folder icon below. I'm clicking group 1. I'm going to go down here and click this layer, layer 2. I don't know what's on there. I think that's where that's where I edited. Layer 3. Clicking that layer. Go back up to group 1, hold shift, click. It selects all. Drag it into group 2. You'll see it kind of moves to the side. That means it's inside the folder. I can close that folder. Let me just double click that to rename the group. I'm going to rename this edited, oops, not reddited, edited photo. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so there's the original photo we had. The edit we made is we made a symmetrical horns basically, right? So that's, if you're trying to edit the photo in such a way where you're going to add things in that were never there before, you're going to want to have A, high resolution photos to work with, which you probably will have already. B, if there's something you're going to add in, that like a tree or a bush or a fence, you probably want to go out and shoot that photo on your own. Go out and find a fence you want and shoot it. And then you're going to bring it into the same document, right? You're going to start editing from one photo you shot to another photo you shot. If you're planning on selling prints from an artist to an artist just trying to sell or make work like that, you probably want to use your own photo because someone's going to recognize, hey, that's the fence I shot. And they might not, but you never know. But that would be the process. You get a high resolution photo, figure out what you want to do, and then take your other photo you want. Use your lasso tool by pressing L or clicking here at the little lasso and isolating what you want. You can do a loose selection and then you go in with your mask, clean it up, place it wherever you want it, and then commence editing and you're just trimming it and cleaning it and trimming it and cleaning it until you're done, yeah, and then if you want to edit the levels, you probably have done this stuff already. You go to image. What's been going on here? Oh, I need to have the picture selected. Image adjustments, or you do adjustment. If you have CS6 or Photoshop CC, this circle, this half circle, that's the adjustment layers, and that just allows me to add those adjustments, and I can, you do something way more subtle than that, and then you turn it on, turn it off, and it preserves what you're doing. Right, and then it's just better to work on those layers that preserve exactly what you're doing. Right. If you wanted to lose some information, but that would be the process. Kelly, is there anything in particular you were thinking of, or is that kind of the same thing? Okay.
I'd like to add more like digital art to photos, but starting off with photos as the background, and then kind of adding more.
So you're thinking maybe something like.
You mean abstractions or actual objects?
Like abstraction.
Abstract. Okay. I was about to draw a little dude looking behind Al Pacino. Maybe not so literal, but well, that's the same. So high resolution photo. I'll recommend an artist for you to look up, just to get some ideas. There's an artist named Android Jones. He's got some. He works in a program called Corel Painter. It's not Photoshop. It's really similar. he's got just some. I think you'd like his work. If abstract kind of art, shapes, colors. Have you seen it? If you look, go ahead and pull it up on. Oh heck, I pulled it up here. I'm connected in it. Android Jones. So this might be something. Here's his website, androidjones.com. He used to work in the entertainment industry, doing creature design, and like he worked on video games, but he quit that to just do his own art. So he does these big. These are all digital paintings. So he combines 3D elements. He goes into Corel Painter. He's combined photos, and he does like projections. And they're kind of psychedelic looking, and yeah, they're really colorful, and you'll see elements of 3D because he actually goes into a program and he puts it into the image. These videos online, you can watch this process.
There's an artist I like a lot. I can't remember her name right now, but I'll send you at some point.
Send me that too, and let me just dig into it, and I can maybe do a little demo of that too. All right, because I want to really structure the class or whatever you want to do. Barrett, you wanted to do line art coloring, right? Traditional drawings that were colored in Photoshop. Yeah.
Back and forth between digital and physical media.
Okay, so let me do this. Let me. So I had a syllabus planned out, right? And it was a general how to paint, digital painting, and I was going to go through a bunch of different artists and stuff. Here's your assignment for like tonight before Tuesday. Send me an email and send me like a link of like, hey, I want to do this, and just write up what you're looking to do. And if you have an example of an artist or an example of an image you want to do, shoot me that email before next Tuesday, and I'm going to start going in. We're going to break up the class by each person's desire, right? And we'll do a full class where we edit a photo and like do a full kind of like matte, take out elements, and that verges more on compositing and photo bashing, but that also works with some other stuff I've done before, and Carlton's done a lot of that. He did a huge matte painting of a sci-fi city. But take your time before Tuesday. You can do it now if you want, and just shoot me an email and say, hey, I really want to do X, Y, and Z. Here's this website, Michael. Check it out, because I want you to understand what I want to do. And go ahead and let me go ahead and pull up my email address again. It's michael@mciii.net. I think I emailed all y'all already. But just remember, contact me through there. And I'll put this up on my blog after the class today. It'll probably be online tomorrow. But tell me exactly what you're looking to do. And if you have an example, that's going to help me figure out how I can help you. Right? I've done a little bit of everything. Barry, go ahead and give me, so you want to color some traditional stuff in Photoshop.
Can I show you
Yeah.
things, or slow it down?
No, give me a name and we'll pull something up real quick. We'll just do a little quick breakdown. I'm just drawing a matte painting of a creature behind Al Pacino. It's not really a matte painting. I'm sorry, I'm just doing something stupid. Let's go started. Well, do you have something you want me to pull up?
If you want an example of an artist, Gil Gorski. Gorski.
Okay, Gilgorski.
He's a kind of started out as a traditional watercolor architectural renderer, but it's a kind of, I think he's a professor at Notre Dame now, but he does a variety of stuff. That certainly covers the
Oh, wow, yeah.
architectural end. Some of the architectural stuff will be kind of boring. I could find some, Dennis Elaine is probably a guy who's probably straddles what my dual interest with art and
Dennis, and then is that E? Elaine?
A-L-L-A-I-N.
Dennis Elaine. Dennis Lane, architecture design. It's like environment concept art. I mean, right, because that's kind of architecture. It's literally designing real thing.
Don't let it get off into too much computer, the vector modeling. He does
Oh, okay.
some nice Photoshop slash, painterly work.
All right. So I'll look up in the. Oh, here we go. Client. Chris, get something in your head real quick, because I'm going to jump over to you.
Click and
Chris, right? Your name's Chris? Okay, just double check.
deeper into the samples there.
Look at that, 20.
Some crazy stuff. It's a little less. Is there not another section that's
Let's see. There's self. Maybe. Oh, self is his personal work. Oh, yeah. This stuff?
I mean, I think he came out of architectural tradition and has kind of grown it.
Now it's just like a.
Definitely using some 3D elements in that one.
I do nowhere near that, but I do kind of mass model in and out.
Right.
Hand drawing back to.
So we'll do this. We can go through and do some of this stuff. This is, yeah, I can see the brush stroke. If this is digital, it looks digital right here. Even if it's not digital, we can do it digitally.
Get you some
It is 3D.
industrial brushes and
That's 3D here.
show you how to transform them into.
The water is painted. The water is all painted, but it looks like there's a photo of water, and he painted over it to fix it. And then this is a 3D model, and then he's edited his 3D stuff, and so like, hey man, you should sign up for Creative Cloud. Can your computer handle Creative Cloud?
I tried to, and I don't know if my firewall blocked it or whatever. I just was doing it hours before this class.
Oh, try and get it before next Tuesday. It's $10 for a month, right? And it's the newest Photoshop.
They had a 30-day free trial. I was trying to.
Figure out. Call.
How much is the full service?
For everything.
The master collection.
I think it's like 50 a month. 50 a month. Check this out. So look, this is why I'm telling you get Creative Cloud. This is in CS6 also, but I'm just gonna make a square real quick. Okay, whatever, circle. Let me just show you all this real quick. Deselect. I'm just gonna right click here, control click if you're on a Mac. New 3D from file. Click. Sorry, that's not the right one. Let me new layer. M for the marquee, G for the paint bucket, fill it, deselect, Command D, Control D. I'm going fast, but I just want to kind of show you this. You're going to control click or right click the layer. New 3D extrusion from selected layer. Now you probably want to actually try practicing a 3D program, because that guy clearly does work in a 3D program. But in Photoshop, you can create 3D elements, and the same way he's putting 3D elements into his painting, you can do it directly in Photoshop now, right? And it's pretty simple. Right now it's, oh, you know what? I should probably cancel it. It's super taxing to my system because I'm online streaming right now. There we go. Yeah, I guess this will. I'll just turn it a little bit so you can see. Now I got like a sphere, so you can start putting some base shapes. Especially you're architect, so you know how to draw in perspective. But this also saves you from having to draw in perspective. If you kind of set up your shapes on you make like, you can make a little city, right? You make a bunch of little squares, the same way I made this circle. We make like a whole. I keep moving my hands, but anyone watching online can't see what I'm doing. Let me just delete that. New layer. I'll make several, right? You can make the whole, like a city grid, right? Buildings on the street. And it bases the information on a grayscale. Let me take some white. That's a little too much. Okay, so now I'm going to same thing. Create 3D Studio Text layer. This isn't exactly the grayscale I'm talking about, but here I guess. Oh, there it did. It did something just now. But you can actually say, I want you to extrude based on the grayscale, and depending on how dark or how light, it'll go up or down. So now I've got like a street. Like if I'm trying to draw like a neighborhood with a robot coming through, I can suddenly make this street, you know. I'm doing it all in Photoshop instead of having to go out to a new 3D program. And then you go over here and you can add lights. Preset, let's just go to red lights just to see what it does. Probably killing my system right now. There we go. So you can see how you're going to start utilizing 3D elements. Like that guy's utilizing 3D elements. So what you would do is you plan out your image ahead of time. Like you say, I want a robot attacking a pirate ship, which is what he had, right? So you got to think about, okay, robot attacking a pirate ship. So you take some time and you go over here and you say, I want my pirate ship to be here. I want my robot to be here. And we could talk about composition later, but you plan out your image first. You have to go look up a picture of a pirate ship if you want to put a photo of the pirate ship in, or you can start painting a pirate ship. And you already know you're going to need a 3D element for this guy. So you're going to need to get a sphere. Figure out how to get CC loaded on your system. Because you can go over and you have like a 3D panel and you can just start creating 3D objects. I can create a sphere and I can create some tubes. Right? Here's this thing. Where is it? Watch this. I can explain this a little more later. This is getting advanced Photoshop, actually. So keep in mind that this isn't... Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. Bless you, bless you. Alright. This is getting into a little more advanced Photoshop digital painting stuff. But I can do something like this. Let me do dry load. No, you can do dry heavy load. You can find this online too. It's the mixer brush. You click the mixer brush from the drop down menu. You select your gradient. If you're listening online, that's why I'm repeating everything. You hold Control and you hold Option, right? It's Option, click. Is it Command? Load brush. Anyway, it should be that. Dry heavy load. Deselect. I should be able to paint. I don't see it though. It should be in my thing. Shouldn't it be in my thing, right? It's not working. Well, you can make 3D tubes. That's basically what I'm trying to show you.
You know, I don't mean to be funny and I can use any help, but I'm pretty confident with my perspective skill.
Yeah.
Drawing skill.
Yeah.
It's more like getting. I'll make the drawing.
Mm-hmm.
However it is, and then I'll start off wanting to paint like I might do a watercolor painting, but I'll fumble and
Yeah.
then wind up just doing a blocky single color, almost like fill paintings
sounds
because
like-
I just can't do the subtlety of.
So it sounds like gradients and using a textured watercolor brush
Mm-hmm.
would be the easiest way to do that.
You want to just start really, like, still upgrade your system with CC because you're going to be able to use a better tool set. I don't think you're going to be able to use my tool set that I sent y'all to download in CC, but you got some subtle. We can talk about rendering, and we'll use the airbrush to render, and you get subtle gradient shifts. So if I wanted to make this circle look like a 3D object, you start cutting in the shadows. And you're real gentle with it, and you go back and forth and just keep working. What you need to do is you need to study light and form. So you need to get like an apple, put it down on your kitchen table one morning, set like a light up or set it near a window, and then just get a pencil and just draw that apple and see what's going on. Yeah, that's some bounce light, right? Curve a bit. We can talk about that a little bit too. So we'll go over that. We'll go over utilizing some 3D stuff to a degree. But you said rendering. So like I said, send me the email. Put your thoughts down in an email. Send it to me before Tuesday. And I want to go ahead and cater the class to exactly what y'all want to do. Let me just select this, and you can see the 3D kind of form. Oops, wrong one. That's a deer antler from earlier. I guess it's still in my clipboard. What?
Crazy. It's a robot in his antlers.
It's still doing it. Is this it? Here we go. Circle. So rendering, you want to get low how to render and make a 3D form just with paint. Right. Okay. Chris, throw me some info. Throw me some desires.
I like to paint like Alex Gray does.
Alex Gray, okay.
I don't think he's done anything digitally,
But you want that look.
but
Alex Gray. Let's look up Alex Gray real quick. Emily, be ready with something real quick, right? Throw something at me. Have in a little bit. Alex Gray. Alex Gray. Alex Gray, okay. Yeah, I don't think he does digitally, but he's very. You got to think in shapes, right? So we'll do a day like this where we kind of play around with colors. You're gonna be so like his idea is he's repeating this shape, but he's creating these other shapes. He's repeating, and he's kind of creating a rudimentary perspective that's gonna give you that look and the psychedelic colors. And he doesn't do it digitally, but since you're working digitally, you can actually create an eyeball stamp tool and a galaxy stamp tool and just stamp out stuff, go back in and clean it up. Alright, so we'll touch on Alex Gray and Abby.
Yeah.
What are you looking to do?
I want to do some like Pixar type of animation.
Pixar type characters? Not you don't want to. You want to use it?
Well,
I don't know how to animate.
yeah, I've been trying to teach myself.
Okay.
But yeah, just like character development, I guess.
Character
I showed
development.
yeah, and I showed you that one specific project I'm working on now.
All right.
That's what I'm focused.
So I can do a talk. So one day we'll talk about character design, and I'll do a talk that I just gave recently. And characters, okay. All right. Email me. But we'll pick out some stuff. So Abby, I want you to find out one of these artists, find out one of these character designers, and I want you to